Hey guys, my name is Jason, and for my research project, I plan on researching active learning for next semester. So I guess to dive into it, what is active learning? Essentially, it's a machine learning topic that is categorized as semi-supervised learning, meaning in terms of what data we're using, the machine starts with completely unlabeled data, but after many iterations of feedback, it will actually start labeling its own data. So the notion behind this is, or the intuition behind active learning is the fact that ideally the machine makes these certain queries about labeling data where a human oracle can then decide on it. And these queries are made such that they're the most effective in helping boosting the learning curve of this algorithm. So some key motivations behind this is in our growing globalization age of digital media, a lot of online scraping data is available. However, a lot of the documents and data is hard to label. For example, like surveillance feeds, audio files, text files. Each file could easily take up to like a minute to 5 minutes to label, and you don't want to label all the data. So what happens is, ideally, this machine can just query these certain data that it thinks is the most effective in boosting its algorithm, and the human will only have to label like 10% of the data then. So to go over how to query this data, if we can visualize the whole data space in just 2 dimensions, ideally if you imagine sort of like an SVM, there is a hyperplane boundary, so that would separate these different classes. So if you're to visualize these data points on the plane, the machine should try to pick points that's closest to the hyperplane, so that means it is the most uncertain. And so after many iterations of feedback, it should be able to determine with high granularity the actual line. So we call this selective sampling. Another proposed scenario is just random sampling, meaning you just take random data points and you would just try to label it. However, in practice and in other research papers, we've actually seen that selective sampling is much better, almost like 10 times better than random sampling. So my goal of research is actually primarily on computer vision. So some of my research areas I plan on proposing is sort of looking at scene recognition, or whether an object's within a certain frame. And for this, I plan on using a mixture of convolutional neural nets and support vector machines to do so. So in our current day and age, there's a lot of really robust convolutional neural nets like VGG, AlexNet, and ImageNet, which can easily classify images of over 100,000 classes. So these CNNs are very robust and can encapsulate an image in very important features. So my idea is to use the CNNs as feature extractions and then the SVMs as recognition. So the whole purpose of active learning isn't to really classify over tens of thousands of images. Rather, it's supposed to be very simple and classify into a very small number of classes, like at most 5 or 6. So that's why an SVM in this case would probably be better, and that is why I plan on vectorizing images using CNNs and then classifying them with SVMs. And finally, in terms of faculty I'll be working with, I plan on working with Chris Katani, who's an associate professor at the Robotics Institute, along with his postdoc, Yuran, who also does work in computer vision with him. Cool, thank you.